As you can see, we're not at my garden today. Today's video comes from a very special place indeed. A place that I was looking to see early this summer, and today I'm excited to be able to share it with you. Whether you enjoy exotic style gardens, full-on rare indoor plant collections, or simply just amazing architecture, incredible indoor spaces, you'll love this. Hopefully you've enjoyed some of my garden tours this year. Chris's incredible collection of exotics up in Yorkshire, Mark's stunning tiki garden, Jane and Alan's expansive woodland exotic garden. There seriously is something in there that will inspire everyone. But today you might be thinking, where's the video talking about a budget garden? How you can create a tropical or holiday effect in a small space without spending lots of money. Today's video is not that video, it's the other end of the scale. This place, as you can see, is full on amazing. Can you imagine then, walking out of your living room into this tropical paradise? What a view. I've been to some amazing gardens before, but a vista like this, it really is unique. So before I take you on a tour around, I'll just give you a quick overview. Over here, we've got a fountain, adding that beautiful sound to the background, real atmosphere. As you could probably guess, it was actually a larger pond full of tropical fish, and it's taken the owners a lot of clearing out to get it like this. They have got some plans to develop the area and maybe have a sunken seating area, but if you've got any ideas about what you do, then let me know in the comments below. The owners will be checking out the comments, and there's something that I could really appreciate your ideas and inspiration on later on. But as we head round, you'll see this is a full-on botanic garden backing onto the house. They've got plans to develop this area here and have an even grander window or doorway opening out from the kitchen. But just imagine looking out of your kitchen window and seeing some of these stunners. We've got the spiky desert plants in front, amazing primitive cycads there, a beautiful citrus grove around that pillar, and in the distance, the whole place just opens up. You've got towering Washingtonia palms, you've got Mediterranean plants over there. It really is a special place indeed. So let's walk down and I'll show you in a bit more detail. Tell you about the history of this place, what the owners have done to get it to this state, the practical side of things, and their plans for the future. So as we head down, you'll see they've already started putting their own personality onto the place with these beautiful glass sculptures, and behind those, an even more sculptural yucca. Just look at the size of these things. You can see now it's touching the roof already. But as you can see there, it's been chopped back previously. But these yuccas, they're very, very tough, resilient plants, so they soon grow back. And as we head down, you'll see a Dasylirion there, a desert plant that will absolutely thrive in these kind of conditions. And when I say these conditions, I believe the place will be actually heated, but only kept frost-free. So in summer, it's going to be baking hot. In winter, cool, but importantly dry, which means all these Mediterranean and arid plants will really have the best chances possible to make it through our colder winters. They're not full-on tropical plants. These are plants from warm, dry, almost desert areas in some cases that see very little rainfall. Unfortunately, some of the smaller plants like these Cycads here have really struggled. Some of them unfortunately won't make it, but luckily the large ones here, they've come through pretty much okay. There was actually a year or so before the house sale went through when the house was pretty much neglected. I don't really know whether it's winter cold, soaring summer temperatures without ventilation, or simply just a lack of water that's affected a lot of these. But I'm pleased that so many of the large mature specimens here are absolutely thriving. So as we head through, you'll see some plants that aren't doing so well, but they're far outnumbered by the beauties that are really thriving here. So I'll walk you around and show you. This is a cycad, a plant that's probably a touch too tender to grow outside without protection here, but in a place like this, those beautiful dark green fronds, they look incredible. And I think probably the main thing about this planting, at the minute it is stripped back, there's plenty of potential, but what this space really gives is the room to appreciate a lot of these plants. You can really see the architectural forms. Some of these plants in my garden will potentially be planted a bit closer together. To use one of Laurie Bowles' terms, cramscaping is definitely my style, but you really appreciate things in here just with the space around them. There we can see another primitive cycad, and this one is looking incredibly healthy. If you don't know about cycads, they're one of the oldest plants in existence, a plant that's survived for millions of years. And what they do is, well, probably every year or every 2 or 3 years, they send out a new flush of fronds. And that flush extends in just a few weeks. They unfurl rapidly to form this beautiful glossy crown, just so many beautiful fronds. So whilst a lot of the plants in here don't look great right now, the owners have done a fantastic job of tidying them up, and I'm sure with the extra irrigation I put in and some more TLC, they'll go from strength to strength. But from slow growing prehistoric beauties to plants that definitely grow quickly. Here we've got a couple more of those monstrous yuccas. I mean, just look at them. You can see they've been cut back before, but that certainly hasn't slowed them down, and they soon send out new buds, new growth. I know there's some yuccas we can grow outside here in the UK, and they are quite cold hardy. There's others which you might be more familiar as houseplants, but real specimens like this, you don't usually see these outside of their native habitats. Real beauties. And here, unfortunately, we've got a few plants that are struggling. And a couple of plants actually make me think this area wasn't planted up necessarily by someone who really knows the plants, but more someone who was interested in just growing the exotic style look. So these are actually Wollemi or Wollemi pines, and unfortunately they've had to be chopped back. They were actually touching the roof, but the main reason they had to be chopped back is just because they were struggling. But all is not lost, because you can see this one here, it's bursting into growth. And I'm sure in just a few short years, that will look lovely once again. In the back there, you will see, don't worry, it's not all doom and gloom, but you'll see a Dicksonia antarctica. Again, probably not the best plant in this kind of environment. These tree ferns, which look so beautifully green in environments with high rainfall, more humidity, in a place like this, where the temperatures are going to soar in summer and you can never get enough water to them, they're really going to struggle. So in my eyes, this border here is definitely a place that the owners can really put their own stamp on. I don't know if you can see there, but those doors, they actually back onto a swimming pool. So just imagine walking out of your pool and seeing a beautiful tropical border. I know the owners are actually looking at putting some different plants in. Some smaller plants, maybe some tropical style plants like bananas, birds of paradise. So if you've got any suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. They're looking for ideas, inspiration, and especially plants that are colourful, so flowers, but also plants that have got an amazing scent. So if you've got any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. They will be reading them, and I'm sure they'll appreciate any ideas you've got. As you can see though, or probably imagine, the amount of work to get a neglected atrium full of weeds, overgrown plants into a state like this, it really is impressive. They've done such a great job. And in fact, it was actually the new owner's passion for this atrium that led to them buying the house. Originally, they were looking for a house on the other side of the country, but it was seeing this place, these beautiful plants, combined with the incredible journey around here, and also the swimming pool that absolutely tipped it for them. And actually, another buyer or another bidder was bidding on the house, but the thing that sealed the deal was their passion, their commitment to restoring this atrium to its former beauty, and they're certainly well on the way. The amount of hours they've put in since I actually came here in the summer really is incredible. So I'm honestly pleased that this house, this atrium, these plants are going to owners that are really going to care for them and take this place to the next level. Here you'll see a palm. This is a Butia, relatively cold hardy. This is a feather palm. As you can see at the minute, it's been pruned back, but these fronds will unfurl, and walking under these on a summer's day, the shadows dappling on the terracotta floor, it really will be an experience. And I love the combination of palms, more yuccas. I've got to say, yuccas are a key plant that I'll be planting around my sunken fire pit area. I just love the architectural beauty, how low maintenance they are, that real exotic vibe they give to a garden. From amazing yuccas, towering palms, a beautiful pelargonium there, covered in blooms, and it's nearly November, we come to the citrus grove. And I know this is one that highlights the garden for the new owners, or the atrium should I say. These incredible plants, commonly grown as houseplants here in the UK, can actually grow into full-on trees. And they're just an incredible addition to this atrium. You've got the beautiful glossy evergreen foliage. You've got the incredible flowers in spring and early summer. The scent must be truly heavenly. And at the back there, you'll see they're even fruiting too. So can you imagine picking your own citrus fruit from trees just outside your back door? That is the dream, honestly. And as we head round, you'll see some plants that, whilst appreciate the hot temperatures, they wouldn't be my first choices, and this is the reason why. These are Washingtonia palms, Mexican palms that grow incredibly tall, and they get there pretty quickly too, which is why, unfortunately, this one has seen its last days. These are plants which are readily available in the UK. They grow rapidly with heat, and in a place like this atrium, it's the perfect environment for growth. Low humidity, high heat, ridiculous heat in summer, they will be soaring to the roof. And unfortunately, they grow that quickly, the days are probably limited. But I think, whilst they're probably not a long-term solution, what they do give is real impact. These towering palms, this one's had to be chopped back already there, as you can see, some of the leaves shortened a bit. They just give so much atmosphere to this place. They really give it that established feel. And the leaves, they're like a Trachycarpus leaf, but so much bigger. Easily 1.5 meters across. They're just beautiful things indeed. And in fact, this is probably a great example to show you the two kinds of palm. These are fan palms. So literally, you can see that is like a fan. Whereas the other type, like the Butia that we've just seen, these are feather palms. And looking up there at that newly unfurling frond, you can literally see that it resembles a feather. So they're the two main kinds of palms if you're new to them. But as we head through, you'll see even more. The Washingtonia robusta, they're very noticeable by this sort of crisscross effect on the trunk. That one at the back there, I'm not actually quite sure what that is. So if you know, leave it in the comments below. I'm tempted to say it's maybe a Washingtonia foliifera or some kind of hybrid. Maybe it's a brahea. I've got to say I'm not quite sure about that one. But whatever it is, it's a real stunner. And looking back there, you'll see another plant that will be repeated later on in this video, the Norfolk Island pine. So honestly, this place, it really is a checklist of sort of exotic style botanic garden plants. And it's amazing that something like this is actually backing onto a private house. But as we head through these curving, sinuous brick paths, you'll see rising up in front, probably the most incredible Chamaerops humilis or Mediterranean dwarf fan palm that I've seen in person. Just look at this. This is a plant that I've talked about in my videos, and I personally grow mine as probably an understory plant in sunny areas. They pair well with a taller Trachycarpus, but unlike other Trachycarpus palms that actually grow tall, Chamaerops are a suckering plant. They are slower growing, they do take the time, but in a hot, dry environment like this, that's absolutely perfect. This is a plant that will thrive here for years. And obviously it must have been planted quite large, but to see a specimen like this develop to its full maturity, it really is impressive. Just look at it, so happy, so healthy. And I think it just shows that whatever the environment, right plant, right place, it really is key. Some of the plants with higher water requirements, they've really struggled. But beauties like this, especially in larger, tougher sizes, have completely thrived. I think, to be honest with you, any botanic garden that I've seen in the UK would certainly appreciate this specimen. And here, it's the perfect place for it. Mirrored over there by another Chamaerops, that huge Washingtonia there. That probably gives you an idea of how big this thing is. Those leaves at the top there, maybe even over 2 meters across. What a beauty. It's a plant I'd love to grow in my garden, but I don't feel that it's quite hardy enough. With a bit of protection, they can make it through mild to average winters, but a cold winter unfortunately would zap them. But this environment, I believe the new owners are keeping it frost-free in winter. So I wouldn't even like to imagine how much it would cost to full-on heat it to 15 degrees, but I'm sure there's a sensible medium in the middle, somewhere that keeps the frost off these plants, but equally doesn't cost the earth. I'll just show you again. Just look at that plant. To me, whether you're lucky enough to have a huge atrium like this, or in fact just a garden to plant up, having a couple of mature plants, real big specimens like this, it absolutely sets the tone. And that tone here, to me, is stunning. This area here, if you're gonna have a seating area outside your house, why not have it sheltered from the wind and the rain and surrounded by beautiful exotic plants? We've got more of those really tough sculptural yuccas here. We've got a young Chamaerops there, just starting to grow away. And behind it, we've got a plant that I will call a problem plant. Now, as much as I'm keen on preserving life wherever and whenever I can, bit of a weird thing to say, but when it comes to plants, this one definitely isn't in the right spot. It's not in the best of health, but this is a Phoenix canariensis. You know those small plants you can buy from supermarkets? Very affordable, feather palms, that look incredibly vibrant, they grow really quickly. Well, they soon turn into something like this. And this is a plant that if left to its natural devices would keep going up and up and up. They basically get to full-on tree-like proportions. Up here in the north of England, they're probably an experimental plant at best. But down south, especially on the south coast of the UK, there's some that are real stunners. But unfortunately, they do keep growing up. And palms, especially palms like this Phoenix canariensis here, have just got a single growing point. So if you try to prune it, you will kill the plant. So unfortunately, this plant here has probably outgrown its welcome. And as well as that, it's blocking out a lot of the light. So this potentially is a candidate for removal. Don't worry, it's not all sad. This plant will come out and give an incredible planting opportunity. Could you imagine maybe some cacti, succulents, bright, colourful exotics here? If you've got any ideas for low maintenance, colourful, ideally scented plants that you would like to grow here, then let me know in the comments below. But walking around a bit more, you'll see more of those Norfolk Island pines really bringing that botanic garden feel. Here, you've got another of those just stunningly resilient yuccas. Just look, it's been cut right back down to the ground and still it's sprouted up and away, those leaves looking as healthy as ever. A large one here, but mirroring the Phoenix we've just seen is this beauty here. Far more healthy. This is a plant with just such huge leaves. A lot of people buy this palm, plant it in small front gardens or close to the house. But you can see here, once they start growing, this one's flowering away there, pushing out new leaves, they get big. So that trunk there is probably about 1.5 meters across, maybe a bit more. And the leaves have got a wingspan. I'd say the whole plant is probably pushing 7-8 meters across. So you really need to think about this if you're planting one of these. And the other thing is, if you do have to remove it, like this unfortunate specimen over here, removing this will be some task indeed. Not just for the size of it, but for these brutal spines here. And when I say brutal, these spines are one of the sharpest things known to man. If that sticks in your leg or arm or eye or any other part of your body, you are going to know about it. For me, sat down here, this is probably my favourite place in the atrium. As you sat down here, the place just wraps around you. You've got these soaring yuccas reaching up towards the sky. That stunning, mature Chamaerops palm there, completely owning its space, making you feel like you're tucked away in any kind of exotic heaven. And looking off there, you've got the beautiful flowing lines of the walls, stunning detail in the brickwork there, the glass letting the light stream in. Maybe not today, but you'll have to imagine that. And as you sit down here, the whole place just wraps around you. Whether you want to have a drink of wine, beer, or just chill out with a book, this would be an incredible place to do it. And I think some more colourful, low maintenance planting goes in there, especially some scented plants. This will be a place that appeals to all the senses. Already, you can feel the warmth. Even on a cold, dreary October day like today, I'm here with a t-shirt inside. You've got the feeling of the warmth on your skin. You've got the dappled shade that some of these plants provides. And then you've got the sound of the fountain just gently tinkling away in the distance. And that, combined with the scent on some beautiful summer evenings, it really will take it to the next level. What a place. Beautiful, isn't it? A combination of a holiday type villa and also a botanic garden crossed with someone's living room, but in a way that just seems so natural. I think really the whole place is a monument to eccentricity and really committing to a project. The previous owner, he definitely had strong taste, but something like this, seeing someone that's completely followed the passion in their idea, it really is incredible. And going around the place, I should probably talk about practicalities, even in a place like this. As you can see, they've got irrigation. This has been recently put in, and even installing that into these garden beds here, that must have been a task in itself. But that means now that the plants can be watered without wasting water, and also set onto a cycle. So these plants can be given more water over the summer months, around once a week, and that can be tailed off over winter, around every 2 or 3 weeks. So a lot of these big palms, they'd like to be kept on the dry side over winter, but then when the heat comes, and it will come here pretty early, you can ramp the water up and really see the lush, vibrant growth unfurl. Just keeping things frost-free, it really opens up the opportunities. And on the note of opportunities, if you've got any plant ideas that would complement these, any ideas of other flowering plants, colourful plants, and like I mentioned, scented plants, please leave the comments below. And if you've got any thoughts on this atrium, any ideas what you would do for the place, definitely leave them as well. I'd love to read them, and I'm sure the new owners will really appreciate your inspiration. This is the view out of the bifold lounge doors. And right in front of you, you've got that beautiful fountain you've been hearing. A lovely sound in the background there. This is still a work in progress, this area. And I know at the minute they're focusing on the house. There's a lot of work to go in there. But this area is a project I know they're looking forward to developing. It actually used to be a tropical pond, the whole shape filled with water. You can probably tell looking at the walls there. But if you don't specifically enjoy keeping fish, if that's not your main hobby and interest, then having a pond as big as this would be a ridiculous expense and take a lot of effort. But they're looking to actually develop this area. So much potential here. You could do anything with this place. Before I've come around today, only a few tradesmen and a small amount of family have actually seen it. So this really is the first time this place has been opened up, and I'm truly thankful for it. It's a privilege just to be here for an afternoon and show you guys around. To me, a place like this, it really is unique. People just don't make things like this anymore. And I think part of that is vision. Something like this definitely requires an element of eccentricity, shall we say. But the other factor is cost. Just the structure alone, when it was built in 2006, so I'm talking about the glass and the steel work, cost £200,000. Nowadays, not surprisingly, it will be closer to double that. And that's before you start looking at the brickwork. But it's the effort, the expense, the design, all this makes the whole place absolutely incredible. That pillar there, it didn't need to have this beautiful swerving spiral, but it has. These raised beds here, they could have easily made them straight lines and given the place a bit more of a formal sort of tone. But in doing so, given these curves here, it really brings the whole place together. Walking around it, it's a journey. Yes, some of the planting potentially wouldn't be what I'd choose, but what works really works. The incredible Cycads, those Yuccas, they're perfectly at home. This bed here, again, potential. This could be a real stunning bed here. Can you imagine having a swimming pool and looking out onto this planting, like your very own centre parks, but with far more class? Over here, you've got the palms there. They just look really beautiful against the brickwork behind. Yes, it might not be to your taste or style, but there's something about this place that really captures that sort of Victorian glasshouse, but mixed with a holiday destination and a full-on botanic greenhouse. What a place. But just before I end this video, I'll show you a couple of bits. They've got even more room for future developments. As we head out the atrium then, you can see that view unfurl in front of you. The beautiful fountains, the island with the birch trees there, and the area of planting that I would definitely develop are these beds here. In front of the atrium, you've got two symmetrical areas, and these areas in my eyes, south facing, that gorgeous backdrop behind, the beautiful brickwork, are absolutely ripe for some arid style planting. I would plant agaves, cacti, succulents from around the world in these. Low maintenance, drought tolerant, they would absolutely thrive in the baking direct sun here. That's what I would grow here. And the best thing is, on a practical level, it's away from pets and people. No one's going to brush past them, and you can appreciate the beauty whatever the weather outside. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and to me, it just makes the world so much better that places like this exist. Places that were built not just to tick a box that a place has a lawn or garden, not just a greenhouse for practical purposes, but a stunning design, a real monument to what people can really do if they've got an idea and the passion to see it through. And a little bit of money as well. I hope you've enjoyed this video then, and it's given some solid practical ideas for those of you who've got a 5,200 square foot atrium just sat there waiting to be developed. But for those of us who've got slightly smaller gardens and grow plants on a slightly more modest scale, my channel is full of all kinds of practical guides on how you can grow a lot of these plants outdoors in the UK, how you can create a tropical holiday effect just outside your own back doors. And as well as that, I've done a few video tours recently looking at some amazing tropical style tiki and exotic gardens that are packed full of ideas and inspiration. So thank you very much for watching this video, and a massive thanks to the owners of the house for letting me walk around today and share this garden with you. Like I said, this atrium hasn't been seen many times before. Only a handful of tradesmen and a few family members have ever seen it. So if you've enjoyed this video, if you've enjoyed seeing the incredible space that they've already put over 100 hours into, getting it tidy, getting the plants ready for this video, then definitely leave the owners a comment in the video below. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.